Hi, my name's Senga Lindsay. I'm a landscape architect here in North Vancouver. We're here early May, standing on my edible green roof, next to one of our beehives that I hived a few weeks ago. The bees came from New Zealand, and I showed it in a previous vlog not too long ago. We also had another vlog where I released the queen out of her cage a few days later, after she got acclimatized and the bees got acclimatized to her being the new mother of the hive. So today we're going to check and see how they're doing, whether they need some extra supplements like protein patties, sugar syrup, and also to make sure that the queen is doing her job and starting to lay eggs, and that our hive is starting to build in numbers. So our entrance is out on this side where the bees come in and out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a quick little smoke. They are out today in full force. It's a beautiful warm day, so they are collecting lots of pollen, so that's a good sign so far. I'm going to suit up here quickly. I'm doing this in the latter part of the afternoon, which is a good time to check on your hives. The workers are slowly returning home. The hive is starting to settle down for the evening as well. And there's not so much activity outside. So I'm just going to pop open the top cover a little bit, give it another smoke inside. Smoking calms the bees. It actually drives them down into the hive, and they start to eat honey, because in nature smoke to the bees mean fire. And what they'll do is they'll go into the hive to start eating their honey stores in preparation for taking off if there actually is indeed a fire that infiltrates their nest. So, my hive tool, I'm going to pop the inner cover. Now the queen cage is actually attached to this little piece of strapping here, and so I need to pull out that cage to make sure she is indeed gone somewhere in the hive. So there you go, giving these guys a good smoke. As you can see here, we've got the last vestiges of a pollen patty. I fed them when I first hived them. Pollen is good for, pollen patty is the protein that helps them feed any young, helps build their energy. I also had given them a frame of sugar water, so this is an empty frame here that I filled up with sugar syrup actually. Sugar syrup is the carbohydrates that the bees need. The reason I'm doing all this, and it's also a maintenance thing that you want to do in the spring, is because the nectar and the pollen aren't flowing so much in the early spring. You need to supplement your bees with all this kind of food products to build up their numbers. So the queen cage I originally put sort of in the semi-middle of these frames. I'm going to pull out the first frame here. Generally your outer 2 or 3 frames are where the bees start to store their honey, as you can see right here. These were empty frames when I first put them in. I put some empty ones in. As you can see, they haven't built the honeycomb on this side yet, but they started to build it on this side, which is a good sign. They started to store their pollen, and that's why you need to put in sugar syrup in order for them to be able to build their honeycomb. They need that kind of carbohydrates to build their honeycomb. So I'm working my way into the middle of the hive. I'm going to give them one other little shot of smoke, because if the queen is in there, I actually want to drive her down into the hive as well, so that I am not inadvertently damaging her when I'm pulling these frames apart to check. So I'm going to pull up the queen cage, and I'm suspecting she's long gone. And there is a queen cage. That's where she was originally kept on her journey to New Zealand. And as you can see, the cage is indeed empty. So that's a good sign. So hopefully she will be somewhere in the frames. And rather than really do a search for her right now, what I'm going to look for is fresh brood, fresh babies, capped comb, which means that she's been laying eggs and that babies are being produced. That's my sign that the queen has been released and she's doing her job. So, there you go. There's my answer. All these light colored caps, so there's your honey on the outer rim. All the light colored caps that you see right here, that is capped brood, so capped larvae, where new bees will be emerging. So that tells me that the queen has been laying eggs, and by the look of it, she's been laying eggs for a while now. I also see some fresh larvae too. So all good signs that the queen is in here. So rather than actually look for her at this point, I'm just going to gently put the frames back in. I'm just going to do a check. Maybe I'll see her on this one. Just in case, if I do. There is a beautiful case of a frame totally filled with babies. Totally filled with new brood. So that's a great sign right there, that the queen is somewhere in there doing her job. So I'm going to put the frames back in. Not going to bug the queen. Put the second one in. You always want to work gently, quietly. Quiet beekeeper, a gentle beekeeper means you'll have gentle bees. So, because we're still in early May, I want to still give them some more supplements. So I'm going to give them another protein patty. That's what it looks like. This is it, almost 90% eaten. So I'm going to leave that strip still in there so they can finish that one off. Protein patties are basically pollen, and they're wrapped in a plastic like this, so you always want to make sure that the holy side of the plastic is down. That way the bees work their way into the strip, and then actually they will chew away the paper as well and pull it out of their hives as part of their housekeeping. Next thing I want to do is, I've got a frame here that's a frame feeder here that's half full of the sugar syrup that I talked about. So while I'm in here, because I won't be going in next week, I'm going to drive some of them out of this hollow frame, and I'm going to top up their sugar water, and sugar syrup. Sugar syrup is actually a very thick compilation of, you can see it here, or you can see me, watch me pour it. It's basically 2 parts granulated sugar dissolved into 1 part water. And I'll probably feed these guys some sugar water for the next few weeks until the flowers really start going and the nectar starts flowing out in the gardens. So that's it for my maintenance on this hive. So far so good. They seem to be quite happy. Lots of brood, queen producing, and I will check this hive as well as my other hives every 10 to 12 days now, because we are hitting the season where late May, early June, if we don't watch our hives and they get too big and we don't give them room to grow, they might swarm. So I will do a check every 10 to 12 days to make sure that they have enough room, enough food, the queen is healthy, alive, and producing. So good news on this hive. I'll check back later in my next vlog on this hive. If you want any more information on beekeeping, on growing vegetables, edible green roofs, recipes with my chef husband, please visit my website at www.sengadesigns.com. Thanks for watching.